Nandivada Ratnasri. I hope I said it again properly. And she's going to tell us about outreach through historical astronomy, instruments of the Jantar Mantar observatories. Nandivada, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Rosa,
yes?
Sorry to interrupt, but we need to keep
the
schedule. Yeah, so if we have time left, you have to wait until the.
Okay, so how about before Nandivada starts presenting, she can tell us about a little bit about the place where she's coming from. So we have 3 minutes for you to tell us about yourself and the place you're coming from, and then we start.
Good day to everyone, and my heartfelt gratitude to all of you at the Global Hands-on Universe conference, where this massive worldwide meeting has become possible for all of us to access from home and speak from home. And thank you, Rosa and Gustavo, for organizing this session. I'm Nandivada Ratnasri, and I'm from South India. So actually Ratnasri is my first name. We write it reverse, down south. And I take care of the planetarium at New Delhi. And at our planetarium, apart from our dome, and we have a lot of content we give to the people in the dome, but we have a lot of other hands-on activities. And in the hands-on activities, from the simplest for the very young to substantially quantitative feel for astronomy is what we have been trying to put in through our activities. And in that particular context, there are these historical observatories in India, and these are they're known as Jantar Mantar observatories. And these observatories have been built early 18th century, and they were built by an astronomer king, Savai Jai Singh. So he was a king of some regions in India, in Rajasthan side, and he had a keen interest in astronomy, and he used small brass instruments, and then later on he went for constructing gigantic instruments. And I think I will just try to share my screen initially with
you're going to start formally your presentation in 1 minute, so you can start planning to share, but wait to start the formal presentation and properly introducing yourself.
I was actually thinking of using...
We are recording this. This is going to be available on YouTube. It's good that you introduced yourself again. I'm sorry for that, guys. I should have known better.
No, I just...
but you can share. You can share your screen now.
Yes, actually, I was going to share before I share my presentation. I wanted to actually just tell anyone, all of us here, in case we have not heard of these masonry observatories in India. There are 4 extant ones. So if we just look up Google images on Jantar Mantar, the spelling for that is that Jantarmantar, and then we will see a host of intriguing structures which come out. So these have been built in rubble masonry, and every one of these structures actually incorporates spherical astronomy inside this construction. So this is the Mishra Yantra in Delhi, this is the Jayaprakash in Jaipur, this is the Samrat Yantra in Delhi, this is the Ram Yantra, and this is the Jayaprakash in Delhi, and so on. So this is the Jaipur Observatory, this is the Delhi Observatory. We have inside one intriguing structure called Ram Yantra, which is for measuring basic local coordinates. So these instruments are essentially wherein you can actually touch astronomy. Spherical trigonometry, spherical astronomy is built into these structures.
Very nice. But I think we have to start with your presentation now, Nandivada.
Yes,
so you have 20 minutes for your presentation, 15 minutes to talk, and 5 minutes for the audience to present questions to you. from the little taste that you just shared with us, I think we're going to have a lot to ask you. Thank you. The floor is yours.
Yes. So I am now sharing my presentation, and I hope there may be a small lag when I'm changing my slides because of my internet connectivity. I will try and keep that in mind. So I wanted to talk about some very fruitful astronomy outreach, which we have been doing for the last 15 years now, using these historical astronomy instruments, often of the observatories known as the Chandramantar Observatory. There are 5 built and 4 of them are there still. Here in my first slide, one can see one unique instrument which is there in the Delhi Observatory. And this is a kind of a mixed instrument. It's called Mishra Yantra. And now we will see many intriguing structures as we go along. They incorporate basically the positional astronomy, spherical astronomy concepts into these structures which are built on the ground. And also these instruments, essentially they would be measuring positions of objects in the sky, and from positions, time sometimes, and just the positions themselves. And which was essentially astronomy for millennia, observing the positions of objects in the sky in a kind of a 2-dimensional framework of just the sky. So that is what these instruments are meant to measure. Now these are historical instruments. They were built early 18th century by the king Savai Jai Singh, and these are 4 extant ones. In my next slide, when this becomes visible, there are 4 extant observatories. So there is the Delhi Observatory, the Jaipur one. This is a small one built on the terrace of monument called Man Mandir in Varanasi on the banks of the river Ganga. And there is another one on the bank of the river Kshipra in Ujjain. So these are 4 extant. One more was there. It is no longer extant. And these have been very curious tourist places for a long time. And of course, visitors with interest in astronomy also wondered what they are. Because if you just look at the instrument, even for an astronomer, it will take a little while to figure out what exactly is this construction, what the usage is going to be. People have been flocking to these observatories for a long time as very interesting structures. In some places, like in the Jaipur Observatory, there are competent guides who tell people what these instruments are. However, some of the kind of activities which we have been doing in the last 15 years has been to have special festivals of measurement in these observatories, where everybody who comes in is welcome to come in and try their hands at actual quantitative measurements of these positional astronomy concepts. So essentially about many of these activities have been daytime, so some have been in the night time too, although nighttime would be much more thrilling. And so the position, let's say in the daytime, position of the sun in the sky, position with respect to our eye in the local framework. So we just need 2 coordinates, the altitude and azimuth. So these can be measured. Position in more global frameworks, like using the equatorial or the ecliptic kind of frameworks. Also, these measurements can be done with these instruments. Now, one might feel that this becomes a little technical for somebody who has just walked into what looks like an outdoor park with interesting constructions, and they want to know what these are. But the very fact that these instruments incorporate the astronomy in such a way that you can actually walk around, move around, see from various angles and touch those markings and so on. So they make them a very, very user-friendly interface with which for a beginner astronomy can be learned. Basic astronomy, positions of objects in the sky or sundials. So these things can be learned using these kind of instruments. And over there with these instruments and just using simple things like this to explain coordinates like the local ones and the equatorial ecliptic, we have found generally that these have been very, very popular and many people get interested. I've had many young people participate, go on to become serious amateur astronomers who have done these activities here. And some also have gone on into the field of astronomy who initially did their work here. So these are the observatories built by Savai Jai Singh, the king, and one of the one aspect is that he built these 100 years almost after telescopes, but these are non-telescopic. However, some of the constructions do reflect some aspects of the telescope mountings and so on. So all in all, using these instruments for anybody who walks into the observatory gives such a quantitative feel for basic astronomy that it stays with them. It really stays with them. These technical aspects, even if they are hearing them for the first time. Now the king who built it, he actually meant this usage. He has written in a manuscript which has come out all these observations that he wants not only that use this observatory for himself, but also that this should be available to anybody who walks into the observatory and they can satisfy themselves what astronomers do. So though these have been called anachronistic because they are 100 years after telescope but non-telescopic, they're also in a way ahead of their time in the sense that they have so much focus on quantitative astronomy outreach. So that is what we have been trying to use. So as a builder of public utility instruments with capability for outreach, so Jai Singh was perhaps anything but anachronistic. So now, the first time we started using these observatory quantitatively and with public presence was in 2004, when many of the activities worldwide related to the transit of Venus of 2004 were concentrating on historical aspects. So although the observatory does not seem to have a direct connection with observing the transit, so there is one instrument in these observatories which would be wonderful for large projected image. But these are historical observatories, and we attempted to make one measurement, which was part of the educational activities, the elongation of Venus measurement. So this is from our first very attempt. There were many school students who joined in. In these instruments, like here, this is Jayaprakash instrument. It is a kind of a bowl instrument, and every point in the sky is a point in the bowl. And the bowl has kind of cuts, as one can see. So there are two bowls, complementary bowls, and put them together, you have the whole sky in your hand or in the bowl. And every point in the sky is a point here. There is a point of reflection, which is a kind of crosswire stretched north, south, east, west. And the reflection point, actually you can pick out the position of the object and then in any framework out of that. So here there are many students who are trying to do measurements. These are the first measurements which were done by our group for a public observation, and presumably they are also the first public observation since the instruments went into disuse from 1750. Well, the Jaipur Observatory does have markings, and guides have been telling people how to use them. However, serious quantitative astronomy observations haven't been so well present, and the Delhi Observatory, for instance, has all the markings missing. And so we have been doing frequently activities. Not only that, we have also taken some of the images and put them inside our planetarium as a dome master. And here, this is actually the Ram Yantra, which has been put here, which is a kind of a cylindrical instrument. And once again, every point in the sky is a point inside the cylinder. And so that allows one to measure local positions. There have also been attempts to do conjectural restoration, wherein we lend some help for the group design route to get the information about it. We have done in collaboration with a large number of groups, various groups, and in particular as a collaboration with the Public Outreach Committee, Astronomical Society of India, in Drona in Jaipur. During various international astronomical conferences, we have done outreach activities. Here we actually also had something called Celestial Rangoli, making designs using astronomy objects at these observatories. Now, some of these activities have been actually quite serious and productive. So we have, if my slide is now visible, there is a slide which shows a kind of a triangular building, triangular structure. This is the Samrat Yantra. So the Samrat Yantra has a triangular wall, and the shadow of this triangular wall falls on an arc around it. So this triangular wall then is inclined parallel to the axis of rotation of Earth. And so the arc is parallel to the equator, and any shadow which moves along this arc moves in equal time intervals, equal distances. That is the beauty of such an equinoctial sundial. Now the Delhi sundial actually was partly covered up by cement at one point because of waterlogging. And if you see the image, you can see that it is in a pit, and the pit has been partly put together, filled up with cement. If you see the some historical drawings of this, one can see that there is this arc which goes all the way up to the triangular wall, and 6 hours of time are inscribed in this arc. And because this is so gigantic, the least count of measurement in this was 2 seconds originally put there. Now here in the Delhi Observatory, because all of it is not extant, some part has been filled up, we did a kind of an observational calibration along with a large a group of students, wherein the markings for every 1 minute were put by chalk, because we can't touch the instrument permanently. And the public who came, we made a large festival once when everybody who came actually made observations with this instrument. And so this was just public observations. So here is actually the Samrat Yantra from Jaipur in my slide, where you can see the view from far away. You can see how it stands up against all the surrounding architecture. Now this particular measurements which were done by public who had come in. So there were many school students, and they were all age group people. So we put that together as put together all the data. So this data, if you can see the slide, it will come in a while, which shows just observations of time taken by people. On the y-axis is the measured time, measured actually against that arc which is there, looking at the position on the arc. And so if I'm running out of my time, I should I'll try and finish this discussion. The thing is that these measurements were just done by people who had just walked into the observatory. They just looked at the position of the shadow of the sun against a particular marking, and then learned how to interpret as time for a sundial. And so their measurements are on the y-axis, and the time, not the sundial time, but modern clock time is on the x-axis. And these are the errors. And you'll see that on the y-axis it goes from -20 to 20, and this is in seconds. So a lot of these observations, in fact, if you look at a histogram of all the errors made by somebody who has just in an observatory and used a gigantic sundial to measure time. So the peak is at 1 second. So this was a kind of an observational demonstration. However, because the calibration itself was done using observations, so the intrinsic errors of the sundial would have had been wiped out. But at least this was a demonstration just through public observations that the sundial can accurately measure at least differences in time of 1 second. So this was a practical demonstration of an instrument which doesn't seem to have had been used quantitatively since around 1750 or so. So that was one of the starting points of the kind of work that we have been doing over a long period of time with all the 4 observatories. So here are some observations, and so this is the sundial that we can see. This is a very popular sundial in the Jaipur Observatory. This is called the Lahu Samrat Yantra, and because of its smaller size and accessibility, everybody goes there. People are easily able to understand how time is measured. Well, when we do these astronomy festivals, we also, of course, try to take these quantitative measurements, and not just time. This instrument has a kind of equatorial construction with which equatorial coordinate measurements can be done. So few of those have been done. Some of the errors in time measurement with this instrument have been collated from various public observations, and there are some systematic errors which you have been seeing. So the error being on the negative side in the morning and the positive side in the afternoon and so on. So these peculiarities have been noticed, and we are also trying to kind of show what is the reason why such peculiarities may be coming with these specific kind of sundials. So most of this has been through public observation. Some observations have also been done by us as a team. Now, in these observatories, actually, we have to look at the shadow. So this is actually the, if you can see this image, which is showing 2 marble arcs, the quadrants, one from the Laghu Samrat Yantra, the smaller one, and one from the larger one. And we can see that we see the shadow of the sun, we see the umbra and the penumbra in the shadow. And because we have to look at shadows, this is a place where shadows rule in the daytime. So it is necessary that this structure should be such that the shadow can be read easily. There have been some student projects undertaken using image processing, because we have to actually figure out where the umbra and the penumbra is. In the midpoint somewhere is the actual center of the sun which is getting reflected. So there have been some student projects, undergraduate students who have been looking at how to use image processing so that so some modern methods with these medieval instruments. So many such activities. There was one other attempt we made, but we have still not completely succeeded in this, because the instruments have marble surface in some of the observatories. But that was probably happened which later. Originally it would not have been.
Rather, just to tell you that you have 3 more minutes and there will be no question time.
Yeah, okay. I think I will just wrap up. If there are questions, I will take it. Yeah. So these are some glimpses of this observatory. This is the Ram Yantra, and actually, if I have overshot my time, I think I will pause here in case there are questions. I would like to take the questions.
There are no questions yet. No, there are no questions yet. So you can continue for more. Everybody's just dazzled with what you're presenting. So just keep going.
Okay. All right. I will do that. I was talking about the kind of errors which I've been seeing in sundials, which have these arcs, and in the morning side and the afternoon side, because we are looking at the time at the edge of the shadow. This is another kind of instrument here in the Jaipur Observatory, and I hope you are able to see this yellowish instrument built in rubble masonry, and it has a kind of a tilted face. So there's a south facing and there's a north facing face, and the sundial is on this. And here what happens is that we have to look at the center of the shadow, not the umbra penumbra edge. And we are finding that, for instance, this kind of systematics of the morning and the afternoon systematics are not seen here. So along with doing such public observations, we are also looking into, in a way, archaeoastronomy research on these observatory instruments to try to figure out. I think I see a question.
Yes. A question, but I'm afraid we have not much time. We have 1 minute to wrap up. So the question was for how long were these buildings operational?
Yes.
Yeah, for how long?
So these have been there since 10, 20 or so they have been built. And in between, they were kind of just left out as monuments. But more recently, such educational activities have started again. So all the basic structure is good, but the surfaces are wiped out. So we can do observations with these instruments. They are currently operational, and they have been going through upgrades.
Well, this was an amazing presentation. I think you blew our minds. Everybody's telling we have to go. We have to have a meeting in India and go visit this place. We sure will keep this in mind. That was absolutely amazing, mind-boggling. Thank you so much for sharing this this treasure. It's a real treasure, and I really hope that we will have an opportunity to see you presenting this face-to-face and touring with us and showing a cohort of
it's a wonderful
several people there.
Walking through the observatory and observing.
Well, thank you very much for your amazing talk. We have to continue with the program nonetheless. I knew that this was going